Do you practice gratitude? Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com, where I help good men stop reacting from old wounds and start responding from calm emotional strength. I want to talk about gratitude. Now, this is something often misunderstood. And honestly, guys tend to look at it like, okay, here comes the cliché, be grateful stuff, but just hang with me here for a second. I'm not going to give you fake positivity over your real pain, but I am going to talk to you about how practicing gratitude, not pretending, not performing, but truly practicing gratitude can be really important in how you see yourself and your marriage and in your healing. Because for wounded men, especially those who feel unseen or unloved or stuck, gratitude isn't just a good idea. Gratitude is how you anchor yourself in reality, even when the pain is real. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you stop focusing on what's missing and start strengthening what's already there. I believe that gratitude can help rewire your nervous system for peace, because that really is the goal of becoming a secure husband. This is more than just your marriage. It's existing every day from a place of peace and grounded calmness. And I think gratitude is essential for healing that little boy inside of you, because sometimes in our darkest moments, feeling gratitude is how we get through those times when life feels too dark to be thankful for anything. And it helps put things into perspective. And I know it's easy to just say, well, just be grateful. That's fine. But if you're stuck in a sexless marriage, you feel rejected, you feel like attention and affection and connection that you long for so much aren't there, feeling grateful seems dismissive. Maybe even insulting, like someone's trying to shut down your pain instead of acknowledging it. I get that. I was there too. But I believe gratitude doesn't deny your pain. It expands your capacity to hold it. Gratitude's not about pretending everything's fine and just looking on the bright side. It's about remembering that even when everything hurts and you feel pain, there is still good in your life. And when your nervous system is used to scanning for danger or rejection and pain, gratitude becomes the practice that helps it scan for truth, real truth, that unconditional love we'll talk about later. Real truth, not fantasy, not fake optimism, truth. Because yeah, you may be hurting, but you're not alone. You might be struggling, but hey, look, I've got breath in my lungs. I might feel disconnected, but I'm doing the work to heal. Now, that's not ignoring reality. It's choosing to see more of the good parts of the reality. We might be struggling in our marriage, but look at these beautiful kids we have. But just be aware. Notice where your energy and attention are going. Because I know when I was hurting, I would focus on what's missing. I would focus on what I'm not getting, what she didn't do, what she didn't say, what we feel we deserve but we're not receiving. I've been there. It just means you're human. It doesn't make you bad. But when your brain and your body get wired to look for lack, that's all you see. It becomes this survival loop. Well, you might walk into your house and instead of noticing your kids smiling at you, all you do is you focus on that your wife never looked up at you, didn't say hi, just kept scrolling on her phone. You're overlooking something great and focusing on something not. That feeling when you get into bed, and instead of feeling the warmth of the sheets, and you're focused on how she turns her back to you. But think about the comfort of your bed, the comfort of the sheets. Now, is that denial? No. What you're doing is you're rewiring your nervous system. You're not avoiding the pain. You're not denying it. You're not stuffing it. You're just choosing to look at things differently. You're choosing not to look through the scarcity lens, because that's a trauma loop. Now that may seem Pollyanna thinking, but the idea of this is that you're training yourself to be grateful, to practice gratitude, because that's going to come into play when we talk about self-worth. So when we can actually stop, soothe our nervous system and stop and ask, where am I unconsciously focusing on what's missing and ignoring the good that's present, that noticing, that awareness, that curiosity, that intention to learn, that brings gratitude, which leads to healing. Am I disqualifying the pain? No. This is where you make that choice. This step is very powerful because you choose to see the good and the hard without pitting them against each other. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If we acknowledge something good, maybe we feel guilt or shame because we don't want to let ourselves feel good because the message that we send back to ourselves is, yeah, that's great, but my marriage still sucks. Or, yeah, but she still hasn't changed. Yes, this is wonderful, but I still feel lonely. Okay, healing isn't black and white. It's not binary. You can be grateful and grieving at the same time, and that's going to help. You can be honest about what hurts while also honoring what's joyous in your life. What is working for you? Gratitude helps you provide emotional leadership for yourself. So you can get to a point where you're like, yeah, my marriage is hard right now, but I'm grateful that I'm doing the work. Yeah, she's cold, she's distant, she doesn't touch me, but I'm thankful for when I'm with my kids. Maybe I feel alone sometimes, but I'm grateful when I'm with my children or I'm with a friend who's loving to me, who checks in on me. That's real. That's gratitude. You're moving away from black and white thinking. Because black and white thinking is when you come from a young, immature brain. Because remember, these coping mechanisms started when you were little. That inner boy we talk about, that little boy inside of you who never got to feel safe enough to feel grateful. He's underneath all of this. Every single podcast I do, I talk about that inner child inside of you. Our behaviors and our thought processes all stem from that. Because when you were young, your life was probably full of criticism and emotional abandonment, conditional love, and constant performance. And so you're just surviving. So everything is black and white because you're not mature at that moment. These are big, scary emotions that are overwhelming. You don't have time to pause and appreciate everything. You're just trying to stay safe when you're young. Then you become an adult. And what happens? You're still just surviving. You still don't pause and appreciate anything. You still are just trying to stay safe in your body. So gratitude feels foreign, maybe even dangerous. Maybe that little boy learned that safety can be ripped away at any second. So he doesn't trust the good. He expects the rug to be pulled out from under him. And now as a grown man, you carry that suspicion with you. But reparenting that little boy inside, that's always such a key part of the healing process. So when you can say, hey, little guy, I see you. I know it was never safe to hope, to be grateful, but I'm here for you now. You're safe. You're allowed to feel joy. You're allowed to receive goodness. You're allowed to look at things from a different perspective and see the good that is happening. And you show him that gratitude is a gift. And slowly that little guy inside of you starts to believe it. And that's where it's so important to have a dialogue with a higher power. Because this is something that you need wisdom greater than you. You don't trust yourself. Your little boy inside doesn't trust you. So you need a source of unconditional love, inherent worth, truth, not false core beliefs. Somewhere where you can have a dialogue and say, God, I know that this is a tough time right now, but thank you. Thank you for my children. Thank you for my dog. Thank you for my house. Thank you for my job. Thank you for breath in my lungs. Thank you for the sun that shines in the morning. Thank you for letting me get up out of bed and walk and be functioning. All of these things come into play and you start experiencing gratitude. And it really is important to practice those micro moments, those small little moments. I'm talking about grounding your nervous system in specific, embodied, concrete gratitude. Here's what I want you to do. At the end of every day, I want you to write down 3 specific things you're grateful for. Now, if you can't think of anything other than, okay, my health, my family, start with that. But then get exact. I'm grateful for the way my son hugged me tonight. I'm grateful for the high five that my daughter gave me after we studied for her biology test. I'm grateful that I went to the gym. Even though I didn't want to, I did it. I'm grateful that I got to sit outside at lunch and the sun felt good on my face. Be specific, because specific brings you into your body and you start anchoring to what's real instead of what's missing. So your brain starts to rewire and your nervous system can soothe, and you become safer in your own body. And it helps you keep from this anxiety spiral. You start living from presence, because that's what gratitude does. It brings you present. It brings you present to the good things you do have. It helps you take ownership of your inner self, that inner child. And I know it's hard. It's hard sometimes, especially if you're hurting. I am with you, man. But here's the thing, when you constantly bring bitterness and resentment and negativity into your life, into the relationship, even if it's justified, it becomes part of the air that you breathe, your source of life, your marriage. It becomes the air your marriage breathes. And again, I'm not asking you to fake it. I'm just saying be responsible for that energy that you bring. So if maybe just for today, try bringing gratitude into the room instead of despair and pain. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're choosing to lead yourself today with gratitude and emotional strength. See, that becomes the difference between walking into the house and thinking, oh, she didn't even look up at me. Why do I even try? Versus walking in and saying, you know what? I'm thankful. I get another shot at showing up for myself with love today. And so much love that maybe I can overflow it. Even if she doesn't meet me there yet, I am showing up for myself today, and I'm grateful for that. See, one way of thinking keeps you trapped. The other way helps heal, sets you free. And this way you can become a man who lives with a grateful heart. Not because your life is easy, not because your wife suddenly starts giving you affection, or your pain has magically disappeared, but because you decided to live with your eyes open to the good. You train your heart to see the good. You train your nervous system, and gratitude becomes an anchor, and that allows you to show up grateful. And as you go down this journey, you become the man that you want to be, who can tell himself, I'm grateful I didn't give up. I'm grateful I didn't stop. I'm grateful that I'm healing. I'm grateful I'm becoming the man that I respect, whether or not anyone else notices. That's gratitude, not perfection. That's presence. Presence based on gratitude. So yeah, gratitude's not some cliché. Think of it as a tool, a weapon against despair and resentment and bitterness. No, it doesn't make the hard stuff disappear, but it does remind you that you're more than the hard stuff. You're not defined by it. You get to choose to see what's real, not just what's wrong. And you can begin to heal that. And nobody can take that from you. And be grateful for that. Hey, I hope this podcast was helpful for you. Hit that subscribe button if you don't already. And I gotta say, listenership to this podcast is exploding, but I don't get a lot of reviews. If you're a regular listener, and there's guys that listen to this every day for months, will you take a moment and give me a review? I'd really appreciate that. That can share this podcast with other men who need help. And if you need help getting unstuck, visit securehusband.com. Set up a free 30-minute consultation with me. Just a conversation. No sales pitch. I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast.